Idaho's News Channel 7. This is the news at 10.
An Ada County paramedic was killed in an off-duty car crash this morning. The 33-year-old paramedic from Parma was driving on Highway 20 just west of Notice. Idaho State Police say a 22-year-old, also from Parma, was driving west in a Toyota Tundra when he tried to pass a semi-truck. He collided head-on with the paramedic, who was driving east in a Prius. The paramedic died at the scene. The driver of the Tundra was flown to a local hospital. ISP says both men were wearing seatbelts and police are investigating the crash. A Nampa man was one of two men killed in a commercial truck crash in eastern Oregon. Oregon State Police say the night of January 1st, 60-year-old Robert Fred Kenyon was stopped at a chain-up area on I-84 in Union County to put chains on his truck. OSP says another truck being driven by a 47-year-old Spokane man left the road for unknown reasons and hit Kenyon's truck. A third truck hit the two vehicles as they went into the highway. Both Kenyon and the Spokane man died at the scene. The third driver was hospitalized. After a standoff that lasted for hours, a Boise man was arrested for trying to strangle a woman. Boise police say last night around 8, officers responded to a reported strangulation near South Leadville Avenue and West Highland Street. Police say 41-year-old Cody Harrigan was trying to strangle a woman inside the home. Police arrived and got the woman and 3 children out of the house. Crisis negotiators came to the scene, and after hours of negotiations, Harrigan left the house and was taken into custody. He's being charged with attempted strangulation and resisting or obstructing officers. Brian Kohberger's defense team is asking the court to compel the prosecution to provide complete expert disclosures. Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students back in 2022. The defense is seeking a court order that the court requires the prosecution to provide all detailed expert reports in the case. The defense says that only being given incomplete disclosures will, quote, greatly prejudice Mr. Kohberger. Kohberger's trial is set to start in August. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. The state funeral for former President Jimmy Carter is now underway, as dozens gathered in Atlanta, Georgia today to attend a private funeral service. It marks the beginning of 6 days of funeral observances. Former President Carter died on December 29th at the age of 100. In addition to the service, the people of Plains, Georgia, Carter's hometown, gathered along the motorcycle route to say their final goodbyes to the president who lived among the people. After a pause at Carter's boyhood home in Archery and other smaller towns in South Georgia, the president's motorcade headed to Atlanta for a private service at the Carter Center. Invited guests for the service include family members of the former president, as well as Carter Center staff of the Jimmy Carter Library, and local officials. As we remember former President Jimmy Carter and reflect on his connections to the Gem State, we've learned about his firstborn child, Jack Carter, that he has some interesting connections as well. Audrielle Tackett brings us the story.
This is a story that started more than 50 years ago when an Idaho man, now in his 50s, received a special token from the Carter family when he was just a young boy. The story of how he got this gift and the impact it had on his life will stay with him and the rest of his family forever.
It's an interesting story that kind of connects me with the Carter family.
Former President Carter's oldest son, John William Jack Carter, was in the Navy and stationed in Idaho sometime in the late 1960s.
The Carters actually had a lot to do with Idaho.
Jack Carter lived at the Naval Reactors Facility in Idaho Falls. There, he met an officer with the Naval Intelligence Service.
My grandfather, Rufus Boldman, was the head of naval intelligence at the Pocatello, Idaho Falls office, and that is where he ended up with a warrant to detain Jack Carter.
This is Benjamin Reed, native Idaho journalist and grandson of Rufus Boldman.
Unfortunately, my grandfather ended up having to arrest Jack Carter due to marijuana consumption. And that was a pretty big deal back at that time.
During Jack Carter's arrest, Boldman noticed something else in his possession.
My grandfather saw a small black dog.
And knowing that he was being detained,
Jack Carter said, I don't know what to do with my dog.
Recognizing these unique circumstances, Boldman offered an act of kindness.
My grandfather said, okay, give it to me. I can give it to my grandson, and that's me here. And so I ended up with that dog. That was my first pet. His name was Pretzel.
Reed says his grandfather told him Pretzel was a favorite in the Carter family.
So my first pet had a direct connection with Jimmy Carter, and it was beautiful.
After Jack Carter left the Navy, his father, then Georgia governor, picked up the phone to thank Boldman for giving Pretzel a home.
Very, very kind. Never tried to use his position of leadership to bargain for special treatment for his son.
Reed says Jack Carter's arrest didn't detract from his grandfather's admiration of the first family.
My grandfather, even being a huge supporter of Ronald Reagan, who ended up winning over Jimmy Carter back in the 1980 election, spoke very, very highly of Mr. Carter as a decent human, a wonderful person.
A reminder that differing opinions don't have to lead to division.
It really had an impact showing me that you can appreciate those who perhaps differed from your own political opinion and yet have a respectful human understanding. And that was a beautiful thing that Jimmy Carter, I think, left with us as a gift for the entire nation.
Benjamin Reed says he passed this story and his grandfather's valuable insight down to his own son, hoping it will continue to be shared with generations to come.
Let's go ahead and get over to your forecast with Ryan Antoinette. Ryan, sounds like we might be waking up to some rain in the morning.
That's right. So models predicted that we should have been underway, at least by way of sprinkles, by about 9. Some parts of the valley are seeing a light sprinkle as we speak, but what we're really seeing in the models is that it should be raining from about 11 to midnight tonight through to Sunday morning. So you can see we're going to wake up to 2 rainy mornings here in Boise before we get to a sunny Tuesday, and this is why. So the first of 2 systems moved in this afternoon. First, it hit southeast Oregon before making its way here to us in Boise, and that brings me to the weather headlines you need to know about. So rain throughout the Boise area tonight through 10 a.m. tomorrow. So your drive in the morning could be a little slick, so just slow down. Sunday, the mountains at 6,000 feet and above could see 2 to 4 inches of snow. Mountain valleys could see up to 2 inches. And rain returns to Boise again Sunday at midnight through 10 a.m. on Monday. And here's a look at your temperatures tomorrow throughout the region. Ontario with a high of 44. McCall a high of 34. Snowy. Haley mostly cloudy, also sitting at 34. 43 in Twin Falls and mostly sunny.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, it's a new year, which means some new laws are going into effect. In Oregon, that includes harsher penalties for drug use on public transit. Next up, the right to repair law, which forces equipment manufacturers like Apple to provide necessary repair tools to consumers and independent repair shops. Another big one are bill caps on insulin, which limits the out-of-pocket cost of insulin for someone with insurance to just $35 a month. Also new for 2025, school bus safety cameras to record drivers illegally passing buses on roads. And finally, school boards will now be required to record and offer meetings to the public. Now, earlier this week, we looked into the new Idaho laws taking effect this year, including one aiming to lower prescription drug costs by regulating pharmacy benefit managers. You can find that story right now on KTVB.com. Coming up, 2024 was a rough year for Boeing that started with a door plug blowing off of a plane last year, 1 year ago today. Now the company says it's made safety improvements, but lawyers and aviation experts are skeptical of if the company has made meaningful change.
Yes, we are emergency. We are depressurized.
Sunday marks 1 year since a door plug blew off a Boeing plane over Portland, terrifying passengers and forcing an emergency landing. 1 year later, the company is claiming it's made safety improvements. Bridget Chavez with our sister station in Seattle has details of the report.
I've spoken with half a dozen lawyers and aviation experts who all say that there are nice words in that report and that it does show promise, but it lacks detail, and they want to see proof of safety and culture change.
Yes, we are emergency. We are depressurized.
2024 was a turbulent year for Boeing, beginning with the door plug failure that left a gaping hole in this Boeing 737 MAX 9. A year later, the company says it's making changes. Boeing sent out this progress update claiming it's elevating safety and quality culture, investing in workforce training, simplifying processes and plans, and working to eliminate defects in the 737 fuselage.
It's like the 787 rollout. It may look pretty, but it's lacking the stuffing and the innards that will make it work.
Many in the aviation world remain skeptical.
There's no detail.
Some say they've seen
claiming a lot of progress, and then when you get down to the brass tacks, it's not as good as it sounds.
And heard this all before.
When I hear these metrics and we're going to do this, that, or the other, without that infrastructure, those are the words coming from the top.
In the report, Boeing claims it's addressed 70% of employee feedback.
Addressing 70% without telling us what the resolution is a big omission.
It also says they've hired a new human factors functional chief engineer.
Human factors 101 is to have a crew alerting system on the MAX that meets the current design requirements. Right now it does not.
Boeing also says it's eliminating defects, which is part of what caused the door plug to fail. The NTSB says 4 bolts were missing that should have held the door plug in place.
When we talk about defects, our first concern is the airplanes that are in service. And we're seeing evidence in incident reports, we're seeing evidence in FAA's own data that shows that these airplanes are not healthy.
SPIA says they want to help Boeing fix that disconnect, but they say they haven't been able to get a meeting with the CEO. They also say they haven't actually submitted a formal request there. We did reach out to Boeing about this, and they say that they have ongoing talks with their engineers union, calling them a key piece of their safety and culture plan. In Seattle, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
JetBlue will have to pay a $2 million fine for chronically delayed flights. The fine handed down by the Department of Transportation is the first of its kind. It comes after federal regulators charged JetBlue with operating multiple chronically delayed flight routes from June 2022 through November 2023. The DOT said it has ongoing investigations into other airlines for unrealistic flight schedules. Here's a live look outside. Plenty of people enjoying the ice on Indian Creek Plaza. Stick around because Ryan Antoinette has your full forecast after the break.
Good evening, friends. Here's a look at today's observed high temps. Look at what we got through to the region today. 34 in McCall, 46 in Caldwell, 45 in Nampa, also 45 in Boise, and 46 in Mountain Home. So we are warmer than usual for this time of year. And if you take a look at the Boise Almanac, you can see we're about 7 degrees warmer today. 7 degrees warmer today than average, but not quite as warm as our high back in 1930 when we reached 57 degrees. So unseasonably warm for this time of January. Here's a look at the satellite radar. This is what's happening overhead. So the first of 2 systems hit the ground here in Boise just a little while ago. Now, Southeast Oregon took the first round of precipitation. Boise, we were expecting to get rain between 9 and 11 o'clock throughout the region. We're just now starting to see some sprinkles throughout the area. And this is just one of 2 systems that's hitting the area. We do expect the next one to land on Monday, but we'll get to that in just a second. Here's a look ahead at your headlines. This is what you need to know. So the rain that we're going to get tonight is going to last through tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now, Sunday, the mountains at 6,000 feet and above, they're going to get between 2 to 4 inches of snow, while the mountain valleys are getting up to 2 inches of snow. Now, rain returns to Boise about Sunday at midnight through Monday at 10 a.m. So your drive to work is most likely going to be a wet one. So here's a look at tomorrow, Sunday, 10:30 in the morning. You can see we've got that precipitation well underway here in Boise, likewise throughout the mountains. Fast forwarding throughout the day on Sunday, you can see we start to clear up. We get a nice clearing here down here in the valley. And as we fast forward through Sunday into Monday morning, you can start to see the precipitation making its way to us again. Now, Monday throughout the day, we should be relatively clear after the morning. And by Tuesday, we should be seeing beautifully sunny skies overhead. So definitely something to look forward to on Tuesday. Now, here's a fast forward to what's going on tomorrow in the region. These are your look at your high temps. So we have Ontario sitting at 44 and mostly cloudy. Haley, mostly cloudy, got some sunshine and 34. Twin Falls, a high of 43 and mostly cloudy. And here's a look at your 7-day Boise forecast. So you can see once we get through these first 2 rainy mornings here in the valley, by Tuesday, we're coasting with mostly sunny skies, a beautiful high of 40. Wednesday, very similar. The clouds are just partly sunny at that point. We're sitting with a high of 38. Thursday, that's the day. That's the day we're all working for. High of 38, gorgeous cloud-free sky. And into Friday, we see we're mostly sunny, and same thing on Saturday with mostly sunny skies and highs of 39.
Well, heads up, starting next week, Grove Street in downtown Boise will be closed between 15th and 16th Streets, and 14th Street will be closed between Grove and Front Streets. The construction is part of the Capital City Development Corps' Linden District improvements. Both sections of street are expected to reopen January 20th. Well, stick around. After years of planning, Boise State broke ground on a massive project to revamp and improve the stadium's north end zone. Jay Tust and Brady Frederick join us with what fans can expect after the break.
Boise State continued conference play this afternoon, hosting San Diego State. The Aztecs experienced some travel difficulties getting to the City of Trees, though. They didn't even land in Boise until after midnight last night.
Yeah, and couple that with the fact the Broncos have dominated this rivalry lately. They've won 6 of their last 7 against the Aztecs overall, including 3 straight here at Extra Mile Arena.
Senior forward Tyson Dagenhart has been a model of consistency this season, scoring in double figures in all 14 games to start the season. Could that streak continue today, though? Early on, Andrew Meadow drives the lane and finishes with the pair. The Broncos jump out to an 8-4 advantage. After that, sophomore Chris Lockett Jr. had himself a career game today. He comes off the bench and buries the 3. We'll have more on him in a moment.
Hey, speaking of coming off the bench, Julian Bowie, the pride of Pocatello, had 10 points today. Here's the first 3 of them. He bombs one from well behind the arc as BSU grows their lead to 7. Later on in the first half, following a 17-6 run by San Diego State, the true freshman hits a floater to put the Broncos back in front. From there, these two Mountain West powers would trade blows. We'll show you under a minute left in the first half. Lockett takes it down the floor, somehow gets the and 1 to go, and this makes it 33-32, which would hold as San Diego State takes the halftime advantage.
On to the second half we go. Check out the ball movement here. Omar Stanley to Dagenhart to Alvaro Cardenas for 3. The Broncos pull back to within 1 at 40-39. A few minutes later, Lockett connects again from distance. He led the Broncos with a career-high 16 points on 3 of 8 shooting from 3. The Broncos still found themselves down 3, though, with 13 minutes to go.
So with under 10 minutes remaining, Lockett feeds Dagenhart in transition. That was Dagenhart's only field goal of the game, though. He went 7 of 8 from the free throw line and finished with 9 points. The Broncos would eventually cut their deficit back to 1 at around the 7-minute mark. The unfortunate thing, they only made 1 field goal over the next 6 minutes. San Diego State rolls into Extra Mile Arena and snaps Boise State's 5-game winning streak, 76-68 at the final, asking head coach Leon Rice, rebounding was the difference maker.
We knew that. Like that was going to be and we've been great on the boards. I don't know if we took that for granted or now they're a really good rebounding team and they're quick to the ball and, they look like a team that they were locked in.
I think the biggest thing that we just got to take away is that they beat us on the glass, and that's not something that happens, especially here. So, I mean, the good thing about basketball is we have another opportunity on Tuesday, so we just got to respond the right way.
It won a 50-50 battle. I mean, I feel like our guards, we need to rebound more and help the bigs a little bit more, crashing on defense and offense sometimes. But that usually don't happen, so we got to be better.
Following years of planning, Boise State officially broke ground on the North End Zone project. Today, the university gathered to celebrate its biggest capital project that it has attacked in over a decade. When all is said and done, Boise State will have access to 1,600 premium seats. That includes loge boxes, club seats, and field-level suites. The facility will also have a multi-use area, a year-round dining room, as well as a nutritional center for all student athletes at Boise State. Today, Director of Athletics Jeremiah Dickey explained how big this is for his program.
Especially from a group of 5 and what we, the standard we hold ourselves to, my goal is to be the best. And that's what I fully expect from this facility. And it's going to provide additional opportunities for us. We want to utilize this stadium 365 days a year. So outside of our games, outside of the Potato Bowl, we have concerts and we have other opportunities to utilize this facility. And when you look at Stickle and what, the number of events we're running through there, which is a testament to Nate and his team, Allison and others, this gives us another, asset that we can then utilize throughout the year. And that's important to us. We have to drive more revenue. We don't need what everyone else has. We just need more than we got. And this is going to give us an opportunity to create something that's sustainable so we can revenue share with our student athletes and continue to elevate.
The school also announced today that Simplot purchased the naming rights. We're back on the news at 10 right after this.
Coming up this Monday, Idaho Governor Brad Little will kick off the 2025 legislative session with his State of the State address. You can watch Governor Little's speech at 1 p.m. on KTVB.com, the KTVB YouTube page, and KTVB Plus. We'll have a great team covering it, including Justin Core, Aspen Shumpert, and Joe Paris. We'll also recap all of the highlights in our newscasts later that day. Well, that's going to wrap things up here on the Saturday Night News at 10. Thank you all for making us part of your day. We'll be back tomorrow for the Sunday Night News at 10. Thanks for watching.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.